The 100% Wild podcast is brought to you by OnX Hunt, the nation's #1 GPS hunting app. Download today in the Google Play and App Store.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast, the best show that has ever existed.
The best podcast on Drury Outdoors, for sure.
It's the best one we've ever had. I'm Tim Chelsvik.
Matt Drury, and we got another edition coming at you.
Yeah, for better or worse. You know, and I have to back up a little bit because I got some feedback from our show last week. Scott Seibert, who listens up in North Central Illinois, said that he was listening to the Wildlife Word segment.
Yeah.
And the wildlife word last week was defensive vomiting.
Okay.
While he was eating Culver's cheese curds. And it ruined his dining experience.
Well, I saw some feedback on our Facebook page. It wasn't very good.
It wasn't good for one of us.
Hey, I came on and
you're probably happy that someone's taken some of the heat off you.
Well, yeah, it used to be when we were doing this podcast with Mark Kenyon from Wired to Hunt, I was the weak link. We got rid of his services, and now you're the weak link.
Now I am it. I'm a clown, apparently.
It happens.
Well, and the thing is, clowns study for a long time. There's training involved. I can't even compete with a clown.
No, you're just Tim.
Just some guy.
Yeah.
The guy's like, he's a weak link. He 100% holds back the show. I was like, wow.
He really got detailed.
The guys here in the studio were like, do you know that? Is this guy just jacking around with us? Does he know you? Are you guys buddies? He knows me enough, apparently.
Hey, it's all good. Feedback's good or bad. I like getting the feedback. When we first started this back with Kenyon, the feedback we got from one guy was, I love all the juries except for Matt. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, that one cut to the core.
That's tough. But you are happy that people are watching and
listening.
It's impacting them in some way.
Here's the deal. We get on, do a weekly podcast. We talk for 30, 45 minutes to an hour, and it's not for everyone, but those that do listen, I think they enjoy it, and we bring a different flavor to it. And that's kind of the beauty of podcasts in general. There's so many podcasts out there. You'll find what you like, no harm, no foul. It's all good.
And we still see people being surprised that Drury Outdoors has a podcast because they see the old show that we used to do with Mark Kenyon that ended in summer of 2018. And they don't think there's any more episodes. Well, we've been doing this show since then. We have 146 or 7 shows in the
the problem was when we first started the podcast, the audio version was on Mark Kenyon's accounts. So when it stopped, people who were subscribed to it thought that the podcast stopped. And in all reality, we just started a new one. It called the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast. And so you had to, for those that were listening, they had to subscribe to a new channel. Not everybody did that. And so there was kind of a miscommunication or a drop off there. So
it's anyhow kind of hard.
We're a video company. We're a video platform. We fully realize that much of our listening probably comes from the views on our YouTube and DeerCast channels. So it's all good. We look forward to continuing on down the path with the podcast. We're not stopping anytime soon. In fact, we were more consistent last year in 2019 than ever. And this year, we're on track to hit one every week for all 52 weeks. So
you will not be able to escape us.
Exactly.
We are everywhere you are, and we will not stop.
So enough of the business talk. We're looking forward to getting
business.
Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to getting into this podcast because I opened DeerCast the other morning, as I often, every morning open it up, kind of like another social platform, checking articles, news feed, all that good stuff, the weather. And I saw an entry, I guess, I don't know, a post about this guy that was at NWTF. He ran into Mark, and he's got a fraternity that's pretty unique. So why don't we introduce him and let's hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, coming from Pennsylvania this morning, we have Owen Neff, who's the Alumni Chair of the Tau Phi Delta Fraternity at Penn State University. Hey, man.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're good. Thanks for hopping on. Now, you had a chance meeting with Mark down at NWTF. Why don't you share with folks how you ended up connecting with Mark?
So I was sitting at the one restaurant/bar inside the hotel at the Gaylord Opryland with a buddy of mine, just relaxing, taking a break from the show. And I saw Mark come walking by, and I looked at my buddy and I was like, dude, we got to say hi. This is awesome. And we stood up and asked for a picture and things like that and just started talking, just chewing the fat for a couple minutes. And he had said something about like school and what we were down there for. And I was down there as part of our Penn State collegiate chapter of the NWTF, known as the Spur Collectors, and then explained to him that I found out about that through my fraternity, Phi Delta, or as it said in the article in DeerCast, Treehouse is our nickname. And when I mentioned that we were the only remaining outdoor interest fraternity in the country, he like paused for a minute, was like, wait, say that again? And I was like, yeah, we're the last remaining one, and we're actually the last remaining chapter that's currently active of our fraternity. And he got all fired up about it and was like, I got to put you in contact with our writer, man. This is awesome. We should do an article for this for DeerCast. So it's just great, good opportunity to meet him, make a connection, and just a great down-to-earth guy that was a good opportunity to get our name out there.
Well, I think from Mark's, speaking for Mark here, I think, when you hear what you guys are doing, what your fraternity is about, and then that you're the last one. First of all, I didn't know there were any, and then to hear like, hey, this is the last one. Here we are. It's we're trying to continue to grow our sport, hunting heritage, and you're out there actually actively, trying to get people involved in the outdoors and young people more specifically. So I think from Mark's perspective, he's just like, man, this is a no brainer. We got to have these guys on, put them in DeerCast and see if we can help drum up any sort of notoriety or publicity for what you guys do.
Yeah, I would imagine that's where it was coming from. It was nice to talk to, as I spoke with Tim before, about how like the guys in our industry are more just relaxed, like down to earth, like, yeah, they're celebrities and people know who they are. They know their name, but they're just a lot more accessible, a lot more easy to talk to. So it was just nice to see him all fired up about our method, our goal of trying to get more people in the outdoors and continue to grow our field. So that was good.
So why don't you take us through your method, the method to the madness here? What do you guys do in order to achieve your goals?
So a lot of times, most of our things start off as the beginning of the process of getting the guys to join the house. So we'll do like events to like get people triggered into it, and we'll have them hang out. Then we'll go skeet shooting at a local range down here, maybe a couple flintlock shoots, things like that. We'll do hiking trails, shed hunt, like group shed hunts. And then our two biggest traditions are called bear drives and safari drives. So for every year for opening day of bear season, we have all the alumni, just anybody who wants to come back. And it's a mixture of actives and alumni. And I think this past year we had 33 guys go out, somewhere around that range. And they just go out for a day and push some areas around State College here to try and get themselves a bear. And actually a couple years back, I believe it was in 2015, one of our, I think he was active back at that time, Austin Nagara, I believe, shot a 530 some pound bear. So it was a good trip. And then come deer season, opening day of deer season, obviously this year it was on Saturday because of new regulation, but typically it's on Monday. The guys will come up for the weekend and drink and hang out, and we usually have probably good 25 to 30 guys go out for that, and traditions there. So we'll kind of tell that to our new members, and then we take place in a lot of involvement fairs, whether it be the environmental service management and environmental science fair, or the general involvement fair here at the university, things of that nature, or even just general advertisement from talking to our buddies and our Instagram and things like that. We just talk to guys and bring them down, show them the house, which is usually a big hit. We even have guys from other like regular business frats and things like that come down here and are enamored by the house, because we have like, as you can see in my back here, there's elk sheds on an elk mount on the wall. We've got a moose pud, another set of moose antlers. We got like 6 mule deer antlers, 4 or 5 whitetail deer mounts. We've got a standing bear in the back of our chapter room, and things of that nature. And then we let them know that we're also an educational institution. So something that does matter to us, and we've been making even more of a push for it lately, is just keeping your grades up, things that matter, because no matter what field you want to get into, but especially when you're getting into wildlife and dealing with research and things of that nature, you need to have a GPA and you need to have yourself set. So whether you go to grad school or you go onto a research internship, they're going to be looking for those kind of things. So it's a good thing to put on your resume as being part of the house, as well as getting guys into hunting when they see the mounts on the wall. They're like, man, I'd love to have that in my house. We're like, hey, we can make that happen. We'll go out on trips and we'll take guys out turkey hunting. And like it was said in the DeerCast article, currently we have 12 guys that are pledging a house this semester, and 6 of them have never even been hunting before. A few have shot guns, but never actually been in the woods. And 4 or 5 of them are already talking about going on turkey hunting trips and stuff like that this spring. So I guess our biggest message as we try to get out there is our mission statement is towards the conservation of the outdoors and forest resources and things of that nature. And we just like to connect that with hunters and continue to grow the outdoor industry as we get more guys into the sport. It's
so awesome because with youth focused hunting initiatives, you may get them hooked on it, but it's really hard for them to continue on in that process, especially if they don't have a family member that's going to continue taking them. You're getting people into the outdoors, having successful hunting experiences at a point in their lives where they can continue doing this on their own if they love it. And I'm assuming they love it once you hook them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've had guys come in here who have never been hunting before, and they went out and say they pledged in the spring and they got their first turkey and just absolutely got hooked. And I know I took a guy last year, he went out waterfowl hunting with me, and he had been hunting other types, but he had never done waterfowl before. And he shot after his first volley and absolutely lost it. He was all giddy but beside himself saying I got to do this again. This is addicting. I said, yeah, I know, man. It's an awesome thing. So when we get guys into it in general, whether they choose to focus on a certain type of hunting or certain species or anything, and it's like large game, small game, waterfowl, things of that nature, no matter what they choose to focus on or what they root themselves in, it's just good to get more people into it. And a big proponent that we have pushing for that is our alumni, because I don't know what the actual percentage is, but a very large percentage of our alumni either works for the State Forestry Bureau or for the Game Commission. We've had people do wildlife research and things like that. And we actually had at that NWTF convention, Mary Jo Castellina is a wildlife turkey biologist for the Pennsylvania State Game Commission, and she's actually a Penn State alum, and she got recognized as the turkey biologist of the year. Wow. So we just have a lot of things coming out of this university, but especially out of the alumni of this fraternity that offer incredible connections and getting into the field and the industry. So when guys come in here interested in the outdoors, but having never gone, they get in here, they get hooked on the hunting, and they just absolutely love that. And they're like, how can I surround myself with this for the rest of my life? And we're like, well, here are some options. And these guys, most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, probably about 50% of them are already in some form of outdoor field. Mm-hmm. And the ones that aren't are in a form of engineering where they're going to make enough money to be able to go on these trips and do these things. So we just connect them with the alumni, and we have a pretty good relationship with most of our alumni, and we have great connections through that too.
So if somebody's listening to this, in a different state, in a different part of the country, and they're like, you know what, I would love to start my own chapter or figure out how to get some program like this rolling in their college, what would they have to do, or what are the steps they would take? Or are you guys actively trying to recruit new chapters across the country?
Well, at the moment, we're not super actively trying because we're still trying to build our budget, because we ran into some hard times in the past years, and we've actually boosted it now with the guys that are joining. We're going to have 31 guys in the house next year at a full house, and we're growing our numbers, which is good. So now that we're doing that, we're trying to build the budget even further so that in future years we can look into doing that. So if anybody would want to do that, what they would do is contact whoever they can contact based off the website. More than likely, they'll get connected to our president, Aaron Swieger, and he will connect them with our entire board of executives, as well as our board of directors and our grand nationals. And then they would probably end up having a sit-down meeting to discuss the finances and the logistics of how to go through the paperwork and everything like that. And then they would move forward with the actual setup of trying to start that chapter.
So what's the website address?
I think it's phidelta.org. I'm not 100% sure if it's .com or .org, but it's on that DeerCast article. Jeremy put it at the bottom of the article.
Sure. And we'll make sure that's linked up in the show notes so folks can get involved if they choose to. I'm curious, because land access can be an issue. I know when I went away to college, I was having to travel back. I was in undergrad in Macomb, Illinois, and I would have to travel all the way over to like Staunton, Litchfield, Illinois to hunt. And that was kind of a challenge during college. How do you handle land access, and how do you do that for maybe students who are non-residents?
Okay. So the first thing is definitely a lot of the guys who are a part of the house themselves have private land. So when they are going for opening weekends and things like that, if they're not like for archery, since we don't have like a group archery hunt, they'll go back home and hunt on their property. But when we're here at school, especially with guys that have never hunted or out of state guys, we'll just direct them on getting their licenses and things like that. And then actually only 10 minutes from the house and only probably about 2 minutes away from the north side of campus, we have a game lands that is very highly sought after for doves and pheasants in the area because they stock pheasants there each year. And then just another 5 minutes down Route 99, we have another section of game lands that is probably the big for Center County and surrounding counties is the biggest pheasant hunting area. And then just down the road, even a little bit further around Phillipsburg and Morristown, things like that, there's the Black Machana State Forest and Game Lands 33. And the combination of all that is actually some pretty fantastic deer hunting. So granted, as being in college, you don't have the time availabilities that you do when you're outside. Not necessarily saying it's much different when you're working a full-time job, but just working with classes. And a lot of us also have jobs while we're in school stuff. So it's hard to form time. But when we get the opportunity, we like to get a couple guys out there and put up some tree stands and make some game plans on patterning the deer, and then also the pheasant hunts and going on co-op areas like Collier Lake for waterfowl and things of that nature. Just as much as it might not be sought after as a haven, so to speak, for hunters, it is a very productive area as long as you put in the effort. And being that we have so many guys in here that have been doing it for so many years, it's really easy to put new guys out there and have them be successful.
Awesome.
I was going to say, the amount of time that you have in college might seem like it's like it's limited, but boy, if I could only go back,
I could rule the world if I had those days back.
Yeah. Looking back, I may have wasted a little bit of time.
Yep. Same here. It's so relative.
Yeah.
Like before I had kids, I didn't realize how much discretionary time I had. Before I got married, it's just the way
basically
life goes.
Everything in your life will just continue to dwindle away at how much time you get to go hunting.
Yeah.
As the older you get.
Another way of saying, Owen, is behold the ravages of age.
Yeah.
Life.
Hunt as much as you can.
Hear that a lot,
yes, that's the takeaway.
While you have no one to answer to.
Owen, one of the things that I wonder about is we know that college campuses are not historically friendly places for people that live the outdoor lifestyle. People who believe in Second Amendment. It's a very PC culture. How has what's the reception been like? Obviously you guys have been there for a long time at Penn State, but what kind of interactions do you have, and has there been conflict with the overall culture of the campus?
Actually, surprisingly enough, we haven't really had any run-ins with the university. So a lot of the guys out there will join a fraternity for like the girls or for the booze or something like that. And being where we're at and what we're about, the guys join here to be like a part of a brotherhood, to be a part of something that means more than just the 4 years of BS while you're here at school. So we actually have pretty good standing with the Interfraternity Council and the university. And in terms of dealing with other fraternities, we're pretty amicable with most of them. I honestly don't know that we've had any feuds with too many, and even ones that aren't in the outdoor field, they'll come over for our parties and hang out and just like physically ask for a tour of the house, because they'll walk in and they'll walk downstairs and they'll look in our dining room and be like, whoa, that's a deer on the wall. Hey, that's a moose on the wall. Wait, what's going on? And they'll ask for a tour of the house, and we'll show them the chapter room and things like that. So in terms of university life and dealing with other students and things like that, if anything, we've been more accepted than you would imagine, just because people aside from those very closeted, closed-minded people that think we're just a bunch of dumb rednecks that talk like idiots, we've actually been very well received and have quite a few guys in the house that have very good friends in other fraternities and amongst the university staff.
Other than those bigots.
Right. It's interesting because the college campus is the place where people talk about being open-minded and tolerant. But in reality,
you mean liberals aren't?
They really don't. As long as you believe what they believe, they're extremely tolerant.
Yeah.
But if you stray outside that,
where I went to college, there was no fraternity like this. All the fraternities, they were kind of douchebags, honestly. Like this one, I think is something I could get behind.
Yeah, my first personal experience with a fraternity. I went to Western Illinois University, and I went there as a transfer student. I did 2 years at a community college, got my associate's degree, and then transferred in. And I remember it was my first semester there, and they were hazing some kids in the front lawn of this fraternity house. They had this kid tied to a concrete cross in the yard, and they were pouring all kinds of junk on him, and it was cold and rainy out, and it was just terrible. I'm like, this is Lord of the Flies. I don't want any part of this.
I'm good on this.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. But it's so good to hear, Owen, that you guys have such a stellar reputation based on your behavior and how welcoming you are, and just how upstanding of students it sounds like. It sounds like you just have high standards for the brothers in the fraternity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I know one of the things that we've noticed from going to other fraternities throughout the years is that when you walk in and you look around, you'll see things that are just like something will smell bad, or you'll see a stain on the wall, or just dirty floors and just trash all over the place. And that's something that doesn't happen here because we have house duties. So even when we don't have pledges here, since we don't take part in what you were just saying about the guy tied to the concrete pole, we don't actually do any hazing, because our object isn't to make the guys feel like crap. It's to make them feel like they're a part of the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
So we'll have them do house duties along with us, and the whole Brotherhood actives, even alumni sometimes will come back and help clean up things when we do like weekend work trips and things like that. We're mopping floors, we're waxing, we're cleaning hallways and bathrooms, and we even help clean the kitchen and everything for our chef, so that way she has a good situation to work in when she comes every day. So it's a matter of respect, not only from other people, but also for ourselves, because I mean, we're not slobs. We don't want to be children. We want to be adults, because as much as we are getting young guys into hunting, and we are all young, we're emerging into adulthood and getting to that point where we need to be professional. So we like to hold ourselves to a little bit of a higher standard, so that we're preparing ourselves for life.
I think Owen gets it.
I think we need to get some interns from the fraternity to come here to Drury Outdoors.
That's a long.
But I think Owen, what you're talking about is when you grow up in an outdoor culture, you understand reality a lot better. You understand that there are consequences for actions, and so many young people today, even adults, they don't want consequences. And you guys are, I mean, you sound like you're a grown man, obviously, but you sound like you're wise beyond your years. And my guess is that you've grown up in the real world, which is where most of us that grew up fishing and hunting grew up.
The outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it truly is the real world.
Yeah. So we appreciate you, joining us today, and I hope that we can help shed some light, for what you guys are doing there. And I honestly, when we talked about this, my intention was, all right, maybe if we could put a spotlight on it, not just to help your specific chapter, but to help grow this into other chapters, because realistically, that's what we need more so than just helping it from a granular level. It needs to be more national. Yep. And, so if somebody's out here listening to this, I'm sure Owen and the guys at his fraternity would be more than happy to talk to you about how you could try to get something started in your own college.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like I said, getting back into the whole financial things and growing our budget. It would be some seriously welcomed conversation if somebody had any interest in putting the first step towards starting another chapter. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Like, what support do you need? And I guess if folks have resources access to land, access to equipment, they could probably just reach out and get a hold of someone there at the fraternity.
Yeah. Anytime, whether it be through the website or anyone that that can connect. Like, we're pretty well out there. We have our Instagram as well. We're not hard to get a hold of. If you DM us or message us based off the website or anything like that, we'll answer you pretty quickly. A lot of guys try to be on top of things with their schedules and whatnot, and with starting a new chapter. I mean, aside from we're in no lack of effort or desire. So aside from the finances or the physical paperwork of whoever's at that university trying to get it done, aside from finances, I mean, you'll have full support if you try to do that. So we welcome that conversation for sure.
And I'll make sure we link it up for folks that are listening. What are your socials?
Say it again.
What's your social handles?
Social handles. Let me pull it up for you real quick just to give you the specific, Avi. So for social, for Instagram, it is tall, TAU _ Phi, PHI _ Delta _ PSU.
Okay.
And then beyond that, let me just double check the website real quick here. Yep. So it's no spaces or anything. It's just tallphidelta.org.
Easy enough. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Perfect.
We'll link it up in the show notes as Tim stated, and we'll try to help push some people your way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's roll into the wildlife word. If you're eating, you may want to stop because we don't want to ruin anyone's meal. Today, this week's wildlife word is gall. Have you guys heard the term gall?
No.
Familiar? Ring any bells? It's a swelling or growth on external tissues of plants, animals, and fungi. In plants, they're essentially benign tumors. You see them a lot on oak trees. You know, the big round growth on the outside of kind of the trunk of the oak tree. That's a gall.
All right.
Sometimes formed by wasps laying larvae in there, and they can be really valuable. A lot of people want them for furniture projects. The grain inside the gall is pretty interesting.
Now you know.
So yeah, cut down a gall when you see one. Send it to me. Give me your galls, people.
All right.
Well,
on that note, let's get the hell out of here.
I was begging for people's galls. Man, I don't think there's anything specifically other than DeerCast is still rolling. I mean, there's still tons of content being loaded in there on a daily basis. So make sure you're joining us in DeerCast, and lots of great new things coming down the pike later in the year that will roll out.
I think on the DeerCast side, the article this time of year, you know, of course, there's still this kind of social side of it. The posts, much like the one that Owen was involved in, fan shares. But more importantly, I think the articles this time of year really help get you by and give you the information on things that are timely, projects that you should probably be thinking of for your property, you know, or off-season projects for your gear or whatever the case may be. So a lot of that stuff's really valuable and free to the, you know, you don't have to have a pro or an elite account or anything like that. It's just the articles are free to all users. So
if you're a broke college student, then it makes perfect sense for you.
Yeah. There's a lot of knowledge in there. So that's kind of the push I'd give. Check it out.
That's right. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. Owen, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate you, man.
Absolutely appreciate y'all having me.
All right.
Take it easy.
Peace out.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by OnX Hunt, the nation's #1 GPS hunting app.